Hey, fellow horror fans. This is Troy Escamilla, the director of Party Night and Mrs. Claus, and you are listening to Anthony T's Horror Show. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Anthony T's Horror Show. I'm Anthony T, and in this edition I'll be talking about the H.P Lovecraft Film Festival, where I recently attended for a day, and I also have my interview with Troy Escamilla. But first, let me talk about a show announcement. I recently started a Facebook page for the show called Anthony T's Horror Show over on Facebook. This Facebook page is where you'll get all information on upcoming guests, teases, you name it. And I'll even throw maybe a review or two here and there from Anthony T's Horror Chamber on that site. Plus, I will probably also share some of the videos also on the YouTube, like I did recently at the H.P Lovecraft Film Festival. But speaking of that, let's get to the pre-taped thoughts about that film festival. Then my interview with director Troy Escamilla, director of Party Night, and Mrs. Claus. Yours truly, between episodes, spent a day at the H.P Lovecraft Film Festival in Providence, Rhode Island. I managed to catch a bunch of short films and a couple of feature films as well. Overall, I had a very good time at the film festival. I want to thank again the organizers of the film festival for letting me shoot a couple of Q&As that happened during the film festival. You can see them on Anthony T's Horror Chamber's YouTube channel. And you also can find the links for each of the Q&As on this show's Facebook page. There were a couple of short films at the film festival that caught my attention that is worth noting and talking about. The first film is the Polish short film Folktales. This film was a very intense one that has good performances and great direction. I liked how the director in that film does a good job keeping the action moving, as it made everything feel intense and creepy. The performances in the film was also very good, and it helped that the screenplay also had an intense feel to it, which made it one of the better films that I saw at the festival. Folktales is a very entertaining short film from start to finish. It's one of those films I recommend you check out when you're at a film festival and you see Folktales on the bill. The other short film that I like was Liz Tabash's short film To See You. The film had its world premiere at the H.P Lovecraft Film Festival. It was also one of the best I saw there. One of the things that made the film stand out for me was the fact that it had a disturbing grindhouse feel to it. Whether it's the way she chose to have the story told through narration, or the way the film looked, as it had a Nick Phillips feel / grindhouse feel to it. It also helped that the film was very dark from start to finish. The other thing that I liked about it was the fact that it has a very good lead performance. I thought the lead actor in the film does a very good job making his character very creepy throughout the story. in the way he tells the story through his character's eyes. This is one very creepy short that really will creep you out. I highly recommend you check to see you if it's playing at a film festival near you. Now on to the two feature films that I saw at the H.P Lovecraft Film Festival. The first film would be Filip Galatz's They Remain. This was a very good and interesting film. One of the things that make his film so good was the way that he keeps everything moving. Even though some of it doesn't make sense, it got pretty bizarre at times, I was still interested in this film. The main reason why this film succeeds like it did was because of his direction. He does a very good job keeping the film together by making sure that the two lead performances were very good, as both William Hopper Jackson and Rebecca Henderson had great chemistry with each other, and they made their characters stand out. If they didn't have the chemistry that they had in this film, then it would have gone down a star or two. But thankfully it didn't, because that is probably the best thing about this film, is the way both of those actors play off each other. They Remain is one creepy nightmare of a film that will make you not sleep at night. I can guarantee that once you see this film, because it is very bizarre. The film is available on Blu-ray over at Amazon.com, and you can also check out the Q&A with director Filip Galatz on Anthony T's Horror Chamber's YouTube channel. I also got a chance to catch Xavier Gensler's film Cold Skin. If you're going into that film thinking that it's going to be like his other films like Frontiers and The Divide, then you're going to be sadly disappointed, as this film doesn't have the extreme shock level as those films do. But still, I thought it was a very good film, and the best that I've seen when I was at the film festival. Jen's direction was very good, as he does a great job making sure that he makes the film move at a good and intense pace, that it keeps you interested, considering that the film pretty much takes place in one area in the middle of the ocean. The film also has great performances from Ray Stevenson and David Oakes. It's worth watching this film alone, because those two had a great chemistry with each other and really made this film work. Cold Skin also has an effective screenplay that makes all the dynamics in the story work so well, as the characters were interesting, and has a good amount of action that keeps you invested in the film and its two main characters. Definitely check this film out when it hits theaters in limited release and VOD on September 7th. In fact, this will also be my film recommendation for this episode, so I highly recommend that you check out Cold Skin when it hits VOD or somehow plays at a theater near you, because it's probably going to get a limited theatrical release, so your best bet is probably catching this one on VOD. For more information on the H.P Lovecraft Film Festival and its upcoming film festival in Portland, Oregon, you can visit their official website at hplfilmfestival.com. Welcome back to the Anthony T's Horror Show. At this time, I'm talking with Troy Escamilla, director of Potty Night and Mrs. Claus.
Yay.
So before I start talking about those two films, the first time I got to know you is through a award site called the Fright Meter Awards.
Mm-hmm.
How did that thing get started?
Well, I actually, gosh, I'm trying to think. Back in like 2006, 2007, I started a blog called frightreader.com, and I used to write reviews. You can still up, you can see all the reviews and stuff that I wrote, and would do articles and stuff with different horror, people in the horror industry like Lynn Shay and Pollyanna McIntosh. I've interviewed, and like at the end of every year, I would do my own little personal horror movie awards, like honoring like the best horror movies of the year, best performances and stuff. Because not only am I a big horror fan, I'm like a big Oscar fan too. I love like Oscar season and stuff. So it was always bummed that horror movies always get ignored by, the big awards shows. So I started that, and then somebody was like, "Hey, well, probably maybe you should be like start a little committee or something that get, where you get other horror fans involved and make it a little bit more, not so just me picking." So that's kind of what I did. I just started posting, on social media, "Hey, if anybody wants to be part of this, let's do it." And, the committee has, it's been pretty solid for the last couple of years at about 50 members. So at the end of the year, the members nominate the films, and then we vote on the winners and, have a little trophy that we send out to the winners who actually respond and want to get the trophy. So that's kind of something cool that still it's kind of unique because there still really isn't a big horror awards, out there right now.
What is your overall objective with the Fright Meter Awards?
Well, I would love, my goal has always been, I would love to like make it, seriously, like make it big, like the premier awards for the genre, like every year actually have a live ceremony and things like that. Unfortunately, because of the whole making movies these last couple of years, that's really consumed a lot of my time. So I have not had a chance, I've not had a chance to really focus on the Fright Meter aspect of what I've been doing. But I'm starting the Houston Horror Film Festival next year, and my thought with that was eventually to kind of merge the two. So hopefully in the future, the next couple of years, the Fright Meter Awards will be, bigger and actually be presented like kind of at a live ceremony.
Now let's move on to your filmmaking.
Huh?
What made you decide that you wanted to make films, and what were some of your influences?
Ooh, I get asked that a lot. I was not one of those people who grew up like, how am I going to put this? I don't have a filmmaking background at all. Like when my first time ever on a film set was the first day we started shooting Party Night. Like I didn't grow up like making, shooting like movies and, making movies in my backyard like a lot of filmmakers did. But my background really is in writing. I have a creative writing degree, and because I'm a horror fan, I just kind of started writing all these horror scripts growing up. And I wrote Party Night and a couple years ago, and I let a couple of friends read it, and they're like, "Hey, that's really actually pretty good, and that really captures like kind of the 80s throwback slasher vibe. You should probably try to get it made." And I'm like, yeah, whatever. But really what encouraged me to do it, I'll tell you, is being on social media, which can be a double-edged sword, that. There's bad and good. But seeing a lot of, people like me. I mean, I grew up in Iowa. I live in Houston. People like me just that had the passion to get a movie made and just kind of did it. I think of several people that I know that I saw doing it. And I'm like, well, gosh, if they can do it, I can do it. And luckily, there are resources now, like crowdfunding, like Kickstarter and Indiegogo, that really make it easy for indie filmmakers to get the funds necessary to make their movie and involve, fans and people that will support it. So that was kind of what I did. And so I really didn't know what I was doing in terms of actually making the movie, the technical aspect of it. But, I learned, I had brought people, on. I had a cinematographer and actors that had a lot of experience that were really patient and taught me a lot of things. So I just, being a horror fan, it's always been a dream of mine to actually make one of my screenplays into a film. So that's kind of the long, short story of it.
Do you believe it's the way to go for an independent maker these days to crowdfund?
That is a good question. Oh boy. You know what? Okay, if you're going to do, I mean, it's an awesome opportunity. It's an awesome resource. However, I feel like these last couple of years, Indiegogo and Kickstarter have been just oversaturated with indie filmmakers trying to get their films made. And I use Kickstarter, which is all or nothing. So if you don't raise your goal, you don't get any of the money. I prefer that because if with Indiegogo you have the option of you get what you raise. Like if your goal is $10,000 and you raise $4,000, you get $4,000. Honestly, I don't want that because if I have a goal of $10,000, I know that that's what it's going to take to make my movie. Giving me $4,000 isn't going to do anything. And what you see is a lot of people that have done that have burned a lot of their backers by not giving them the perks and stuff. So a lot of potential backers, I think, people that were faithful to Kickstarter and Indiegogo are kind of hesitant to back projects now because they've been burned. And it's not easy. Like I see filmmakers do it all the time. They think that, oh well, I have a $20,000. My goal is $20,000. I'm just going to throw a Kickstarter up there, and guess what? People are just going to pledge to it. It is a lot of work. You have to. People are not going to just find your Kickstarter and pledge to it. I promise you that. And you cannot rely on your friends and your personal social network because honestly, for both of my films, the majority of people who backed it were not personal friends. And it's kind of, as a filmmaker or somebody that's trying to create something, it's kind of like bothersome because you're thinking, oh, well, these people I've been friends with these people all my life and they can't even pledge, $15-20, but you can't take it personally. But it's a lot of work. You really have to, get the word out there. You have to get people involved in your film to post that. You have to get, blogs to post it. You have to get hype. You have to get, why should people support you in this film? Because trust me, right now I think the statistic is like 70% of crowdfunding campaigns don't make their goal. I've been fortunate; both of mine exceeded their goal. But it's a lot of work. I mean, I spent hours a day focused on the campaigns. So to answer your question, yeah, I mean, if you're just starting out, yeah, go for it. Don't ask for anything ridiculous. You're not going to get $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 from a crowdfunding campaign anymore, unless you're established and have a very well-known cast. I think that's a lot of first-time filmmakers make that mistake is they think they're going to get $100,000. It's not going to happen. But if you have a realistic goal, go for it. Just know it's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah, another thing about that is you also need people who actually support your project to help you promote it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that I think that falls into line with like being very interacting with the people that have already supported you, and giving them shout outs and personally messaging them, when they pledge to the campaign, sending them a personal message and being like, hey, thank you so much for supporting up my project, and hey, if you get a chance, and if people feel like you really are appreciative of what they've done, even if it's $20, they're gonna help you out. They'll repost it, especially if you get close to your goal. People want to see you succeed. So you just have to be really appreciative of the people who back you.
Yeah, before I even continue, I just want to let everyone know that I was a backer of Troy Escamilla's Potty Night and Mrs. Claus, which was known as Stirring at the time.
Yeah, absolutely, and I completely 100% appreciate it. And with I've been asked, and I'll just if anybody about the perks for Stirring or Mrs. Claus as it's called now. and they will be sent out, I promise. But, the party night stuff I got sent out before the distributor released it. So everyone that backed party night should have had their DVD or Blu-ray or whatever it was, the posters, whatever. But with Stirring, the distributor was a little bit more strict in terms of they did not want the movie out there. And unfortunately, once you sign the contract, you're pretty much you got to do what they want. So.
Now, speaking of your distributor, Wild Eye Releasing, what made you choose them compared to other labels out there for your films?
I talked to a few distributors that were interested, and I really I felt like Rob, who owns Wild Eye Releasing, and me and him had a conversation on the telephone for about 2 hours, and I really felt like he got it. He got what I was trying to do as an indie horror filmmaker. He understood my process. He understood, he just understood the genre, and I just felt like, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to explain, but when you talk to somebody, you just feel like, yeah, they get it, and I feel like I completely can trust this person, and they have the best interest of the film, and myself in mind. So that's kind of why I went with him. It was just a feeling. I mean, we talked about our favorite horror movies, and he got all the references in Party Night, and was just giddy about it, and so I just felt like they were the right person to go with. So when I finished Stirring, I definitely think they were the first ones I reached out to, and luckily they liked the film enough to be like, absolutely, and so.
All right, speaking of Party Night, let's talk about that film first, as Party Night is coming out in September. Yeah. Tell me about that film, as most people might have not heard about it.
Party Night, it's been released September 11th. We filmed it actually way back in 2016, June of 2016, so it's kind of nice that it's finally coming out. But Party Night I'm a huge 80s slasher fan. I mean, I've probably seen every 80s slasher movie in existence. I'm probably an 80s slasher, trivia machine. You could probably ask me anything about any 80s slasher movie, I could probably tell you. So Party Night was basically me as a horror fan, my kind of homage and tribute to 80s slasher movies. So it's basically about a group of kids who it's their prom night, and they decide, instead of going to their school's after prom party, that they're going to go out and have their own little get together at a secluded cabin out in the middle of nowhere. What they don't know is that there's been girls that have gone missing, girls have gone missing, several months leading up to this. They don't realize that they're right near the hunting ground of the psychotic killer who is, responsible for killing, and abducting these girls, and he's none too happy to have company. So there's a lot of homages to some of my favorite horror movies, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Carrie, Black Christmas. So the gore is, we have gore, we don't cut away, not that, we don't cheat the audience by cutting away. Everything's on screen, so I think horror fans will get a kick out of that. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, it has its issues. It's low budget. There are some issues with it, I'll admit, but I think it's just, if you sit back and enjoy it for what it is, it's a lot of fun.
Now that the film has basically all newcomers, with the exception of Red Eye's Destiny Orndorff and the interrogation of Cheryl's Tommy Vegas, what was the casting process like for this film? And tell everyone who also stars in the film.
Yeah, sure. It's a young cast, very talented cast, I should say. But we have, like you said, you mentioned Tommy Vegas, who is actually, she's making quite a name for herself right now in the indie horror community. She's doing a lot of stuff with indie horror. Destiny Orndorff, of course. And then we have Billy Brannigan, who is a very talented actor from Connecticut, out in Connecticut, and has done some TV stuff. Drew Shotwell, who's a local actor from here in Houston. And let me think, Ryan Poole, who is out in LA and doing some great stuff. Be on the lookout for him. Trust me, he's doing some good stuff. And finally, Lowell Fulson, who is an actress from the Houston area, who's moving out to LA. I found out, and she's great in the movie. She won a few awards on the festival circuit for Party Night. So it's definitely a talented cast.
What was the toughest role to cast in the film?
The toughest role? Oh.
Yes.
Oh, and I forgot to mention Lawrence McKinney, who plays the killer. You don't really ever get to see his face, but he's definitely a foreboding character. He lives here in Houston too, and he was amazing to work with. Gosh, I'm trying to think the most difficult role to cast. Wow. I would because I don't want to say anything about because it'll maybe a bit spoilerish, but I'll just say I really was hoping that I would get a very strong actress for the role of Amy, which Laurel Topper plays in the film. That because I really wanted that character to come off as very likable and vulnerable, and that's really all I'll say without spoilers. So.
Okay, fair enough. What was it like shooting this film, considering this film takes place mostly in one location, one general area?
It was cool actually. The film 95% of the film takes place in one location. So that made it really easy for filming purposes. The cast and crew stayed at the house that we filmed at, which was about an hour and a half outside of Houston in Montgomery, Texas, just literally out in the middle of nowhere. Like we were about 30 minutes from the closest gas station, fast food place. So it was so that was a lot of fun because when you're kind of cooped up like that, you get to bond, and I feel like the cast bonded really well, so it comes off on screen like these kids really are friends, really know each other. Their interactions, their chemistry together was really strong. And obviously the toughest parts of the film to actually film were the parts that did not take place at the house. We had a scene that took place at a tuxedo shop, and then a scene that took place at a school, the prom scene and the classroom scene. And that was difficult because we only had a certain amount of time into us to film, and I remember the school, which is in downtown Houston, only gave us I don't even remember 6 hours or something, and here we have 3 or 4 big scenes to film at the school, and we're trying to do it in a short amount of time. And we literally we were trying to wrap up one scene, and they were literally shutting the gates on us, trying to get us out. But and then we filmed a scene outside, a walking scene, which is the worst scene in the movie, but because it's how it's shot, it's so shaky. But we did that just in this residential neighborhood, and that was tricky because it was a Saturday morning, and during filming, lawn crews were coming in the neighborhood, mowing, and so we have to move. You don't hear the lawnmower. It was just crazy. But I liked the fact that the movie, once we got to the house, that was a lot of fun. Living together with the cast and crew for 14 days.
Were there some things that you wished you did differently?
There are a few things. It was a learning experience. It was my first film. I didn't know, really what I was doing, and luckily I had a good cast and crew. And so, you can't really go back and change anything. I look at the film and I'm like, oh gosh, I wish we would have done that differently. And my biggest thing is the walking scene in the beginning of the movie when you're introduced to the 3 main female characters. That was supposed to be the big homage to Halloween, with the girls walking down the street after school. And just because of time constraints and the fact that, like I said, we kept getting interrupted with lawn crews mowing and stuff, we didn't have time, whatever, to set up the dolly track or Steadicam to make sure the shot was smooth. And so it was just basically a handheld shot cinematographer walking backwards holding the camera, and as a result, it's super, super shaky. And it bothers me because it's one of the first scenes in the film, and I think if people watch the film and they see that, even though it's like 30 seconds long, but for me it seems like it's like 5 hours long. Because I'm like, oh my God. I feel like the first time people see the movie and they're introduced to that scene, they might think, oh God, this movie's going to be crap. They can't even, focus a shot. But so it's just stupid stuff like that. And, there's a scene where the fisherman is on the cell phone, and you clearly see the cell phone's not connected. Nobody thought to either tell him turn the cell phone off or actually call somebody. So just stuff like that. But overall, I don't think it makes the film, bad or anything. Even the biggest
Did
budget.
you ever?
Sorry.
Oh no, finish your
I was
thought.
just gonna say, even the biggest budget movies have those little flaws. So.
Did you ever think at some point after production that you would self-distribute this film if no distribution deal came to be?
Well, if no distribution deal came to be, I definitely would have self-distributed it. The only problem with that is, I don't have a marketing background, and the problem with self-distributing, some people do it really well. I know, like the director of The Barn and Pool Party Massacre, both, I believe, self-distributed their films and have done really, really well with them. But they have an amazing marketing plan. I'm certainly not as creative as either one of those guys. So Justin Seaman and Drew, I can't think of his last name, Pool Party Massacre. Great guys, but
Maverick, I think?
Drew Maverick. Yeah.
I
I've talked to him, through social media and stuff. But like they're doing it right. Me, I'm just like not that creative, and I feel like it would just be, because I do know some companies or some filmmakers that do self-distribute, and the problem with that is the only people that are buying their movies are like their friends and family. They're not getting a reach beyond, beyond their own little social.
And they're not
exactly, and that's
social
fine.
network.
Yeah, I mean, their movies, they're getting their movie out there. But the point is, as an indie filmmaker, you certainly try to want to make, some. If you spend money, you certainly want to try to not just do it for the money, but you certainly want to try to recoup some of that. And my goal is, hopefully at some point I don't have to rely on like crowdfunding or something, because I'm, I can finance the movies myself. But so I would have self-distributed it, but it would have been very sorry. It would have been just like me on Facebook begging people to buy the movie, which I'm doing right now anyway. But it doesn't matter. But at least with the distributor, they're getting the film out there. They're getting the film in retailers and things like that, stuff that I would have never been able to do by myself.
Yeah, speaking of your distributor, I'm surprised that they're doing a very good job in promoting Miss Claus.
Yeah, I am too, and I feel like they and I'm not being joking, or I'm not being like, don't take this the wrong way, whoever's listening, but like, yeah, I feel like they have like party nights just kind of there, but Mrs. Claus, they've really pushed a lot. They've done a lot of pre-promotion for it, a lot, and it's really paid off. I mean, the movie doesn't come out until November, and it's already like in the top 500 on Amazon bestseller of horror movies list, and it's just gotten an insane amount of coverage here lately from huge movie and horror sites. So, but I kind of figured, that because when they saw the movie, they're like, yeah, I think this is something that's special, because it's something that we haven't seen before, a killer Mrs. Claus. B, it's a holiday themed horror movies that usually sell really well, and then sell really well year after year. So I think they really feel like that it has a lot of potential. Where Party Night, good movie, love it all. I feel like it's probably gonna, do well, and then, nobody will buy it. You know what I mean? It's just there's no novelty behind it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's just a slasher movie. Whereas Mrs. Claus, I think every year they could really promote it and get it out there year after year. So I'm super excited. Yeah.
Tell everyone. So tell everyone about that film.
Stirring or Mrs. Claus? I keep calling it Stirring.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I refer to it as Stirring as well.
Well, I will call it Mrs. Claus because I have to get used to that. But
Yes, yeah. I think we all have to get
yeah,
used to
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah. It's it's a Christmas themed slasher movie. Don't let the distributor DVD cover fool you. It's not a zombie movie or a demon movie. It is a slasher movie. um, and my favorite horror movie of all time is Black Christmas. So I always wanted to do a Christmas themed horror movie. That was my goal, actually. Like I said, if I'm ever going to make two films, it'd be a 80s throwback and a Christmas themed slasher movie. So I'm happy now. But it basically it's about it takes place at a sorority house where years before, kind of a cruel prank, a girl's trying to pledge the sorority, and the sorority sisters make her do something really humiliating, which kind of leads to something very horrific happening. And flash forward 10 years, and one of the girls who was involved in the prank, her sister's now a pledge at the sorority house, and they're preparing for their annual little Christmas party, and basically they start getting stalked by a killer who is disguised as Mrs. Claus, and are dispatching the co-eds in very horrific Christmassy themed ways. And it's a great cast. The cast is about 3 times the size of Party Night, so that was a big challenge. But I mean, I have Brink Stevens, Elaine Udy, Kaylee Williams. I brought the 3 guys from Party Night back, and there's some other talented new. So I'm really happy with it. I really am. I think it's for my move for a second movie, I'm really happy with it.
Speaking of Brink Stevens and Helen Uday,
Mm-hmm.
what made you want to cast these two in your film?
Well, again, without spoilers, the 2 characters that they play in the film, I knew right away when I was writing the script that I wanted to get 2 80s horror kind of scream queen actresses to play those roles. So I reached out to several of them, and some were interested, some were, some were just going to be too much, in terms of, getting them here and things like that, and just working around their schedule. And Brink and Aline were just 2 that just seemed like they fit the characters the best, and were available, and I got them, and I think that they both do a amazing job in film. I was very pleased, and it was kind of surreal to have them both on set, and I think horror fans will get a kick out of seeing them together, and I just felt like they were the right ones.
Besides that, what's the casting process like for this film compared to Party Night?
It was a little easier because I wrote specific characters with specific actors in mind. Like I knew I wanted to bring the 3 guys from Party Night back, so I when I wrote the 3 male characters, I knew those guys were going to come back, and actually they knew it. They knew it a long time. They were on board. Months before we started filming. I would have brought the 3 girls back, except they were all doing their own thing. Laurel from Party Night was in Europe. Destiny was busy with Red Eye, and Tommy was doing her thing, doing some stuff. So just brought the 3 guys back, and then the rest of the roles, there were some actors who auditioned for Party Night that I really, really liked but passed over, and I reached out to them and ended up giving them the roles in Stirring. So, and then the rest of the roles were just general audition calls that people, submitted audition videos for, and I just picked them because they were, they were good. They were good. They fit the characters. The lead actress in Stirring is really, really good. Haley Strader, she's here in Houston. She's actually, been nominated for several awards already. Unfortunately, she's not going to do acting anymore, but I was lucky to get her. She was really, really good. So it was a lot easier this time around. I just kind of made decisions much more easier than I did with Party Night, where I was kind of worried about hurting people's feelings and rejecting people and things like that. This time I'm just like, well, you know what I got to do? It's best for the film. It's filmmaking. It's business. Whatever,
Were there any challenges you encountered while shooting this film? Because
no,
I don't
really. No,
don't think you shot this around Christmas
No,
time,
that was the biggest thing. Everything. You know what? It was the shoot went so smooth. We had no issue, nothing. I mean, everything went smoothly. That's why, like, we don't even, like, we were talking about, like, oh, well, trying to do like a blooper reel or something to give to the distributor to put on like the DVDs from the distributor. We didn't even have that many we didn't have bloopers to put on. I mean, that's how good and smooth the cast was and everything went. But like you just hit on it, the biggest challenge was we were trying to film this Christmas themed movie in June in Houston, when it's 110 degrees out. It doesn't look like Christmas, so we tried to keep it as much contained indoors as possible. And then when we were outdoors, just trying to put Christmas lights up just to make it look Christmassy. So, but that was, I guess that's what you got to do. I have the summers off with my job, so I'll usually always film during the summers. So.
Speaking of the DVD, will there be any extras on it?
You know what? I am not sure. That's a question that I can't answer. I gave the distributor a commentary track that they wanted, and I'm sure that'll be on there. We have, some of the original trailers. We have just a few little things, but I don't know what they'll actually put on it. So that's a good question I haven't seen, because I haven't seen the back of their DVD. I know I saw the back of the Party Night DVD that they're releasing, and they're going to have our commentary, a blooper reel, some trailers, and something else I can't remember. But and see, that's the issue I had with some potential or some people that backed the film, is that and it's hard and this is another thing with crowdfunding, is that people that pledge your movie, you obviously appreciate them, but once you sign with the distributor, you kind of have to, things change a little bit. And I feel like, some Kickstarter backers or some people that pledge to campaigns, sometimes don't understand that, because I did the commentary for Stirring, Mrs. Claus, strictly for the distributor. So their thing was, they were telling me that you can't really, they don't want it on the Stirring DVDs or Blu-rays that are going to go out to the backers. They don't want special features on those, because what they feel is like people, and it's a business. What they feel is like, you guys backed the movie, wonderful. And I'm speaking from a distributor's point of view, but hey, we're looking at it from, hey, if you guys really want the extras, then you're going to actually buy the Mrs. Claus DVD. I know it sucks. And I've gone back and forth with a couple backers through email about it, and I mean, I can't really do anything about it. I thought about trying to record another commentary just to put on the backers' Blu-rays, but I don't know. So I'm putting that out there. I mean, I'm not trying to scam anybody. I'm not trying to but once you sign with the distributor, you kind of have to do what they want. Anybody that's done a Kickstarter campaign. Anybody that's done a Kickstarter campaign and then had their movie picked up by a distributor will tell you that. I mean, I was extremely fortunate that they let me send out Party Night DVDs and Blu-rays to backers before the movie was released. That was something I virtually begged them to let me do, because I was starting the Stirring Kickstarter campaign, and I did not want to start a Stirring Kickstarter campaign without having people who have gotten the stuff from Party Night. So I literally had to beg them. And I'm glad, because it's been 2 years. Like, the movie's it's been 2 years, over 2 years. So, but they're being a little bit less, like I said, they're being a little bit more strict with Stirring, because A, it's not taking them as long to release it. It's coming out this November. And B, I really feel like they think has the potential to do well.
Yeah, plus they're pushing this film too, so.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I said. People just need to understand, it's sometimes, I mean, I would love to give, the backers everything, but, I'm kind of limited now, so.
That's some of the pitfalls of independent filmmaking and crowdfunding these days.
Indeed.
Now, how long did this film take to shoot compared to Party Night?
They were both the same. They took about 16 days.
Now, I also noticed you're getting ready to do another film called Teacher Shortage. Tell me about that film and how you came up with the concept for that film.
Well, I've had the concept in the back of my mind for a long time. I'm actually a teacher, or actually I was a teacher for 10 years. I'm actually a librarian out of high school. So I thought I always kind of wanted to do a slasher movie that focused on, instead of students, that focused on teachers being killed off, but also make it kind of a black comedy to make it to kind of to give a kind of a commentary on our current state of education. So there's a lot of, little black comedy, little quips about our current state of education in the script. But it's a slasher movie. It's another slasher movie, but it's different. Like I said, instead of having high school kids being chased and killed off, this is you have teachers that are being stalked and killed during a professional development weekend. So the plan is to film in March. We're going to film an opening scene and then another scene with Brink Stevens in December because she's on board as well. So things are going for it. I'm in the process of casting and stuff like that. So I'm excited about it. It should be a lot of fun. It'll definitely be a lot. Huh?
Oh no, finish that.
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, okay, sorry. No, what were you going to ask?
Who else will be cast for that film?
Well, right now I've only announced 3. Brink Stevens, Kaylee Williams, who was in Stirring, and she was just in Don't Fuck in the Woods 2, and she's a Apocalypse, all kinds of indie stuff. And then David Big Man, who has done a lot of indie stuff. He did the Song of Solomon, Bojangles, got cast in Bojangles 2, and all kinds of stuff. So it's a good cast so far. And I'm going through auditions right now, so I'm sure I'll announce some more casting here in the next week or 2.
Will there be a Kickstarter for this one as well?
Yeah, probably. I'm trying to figure out when it would launch. I would say maybe October-ish, or November-ish, because like I said, I don't want to launch something without having given the Stirring backers their, the DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff, because like I said, I don't want people thinking that I'm, not fulfilling the perks and then just launching another Kickstarter campaign. So, and that doesn't come out till November 13th. The only problem is I'm in a time crunch because, I want to film in March, which doesn't give me a lot of time. In terms of Kickstarter campaigns, usually last 30 or 45 days, and then they take about 3 weeks to get the funds, and the funds are needed then to get the crew here, to get their their transportation, their airline tickets, to flying them in, and things like locations paid for, things like that. So I'm in a time crunch, so I'm trying to think of when I would launch it. I'm thinking if I do, it'd be maybe Halloween.
Okay. Besides that, do you have anything else in the works?
Not really. I'm supposed to shoot my first short film next month. It's something I've kind of wanted to do for a long time. I kind of started backwards and actually did features before shorts. Most filmmakers do shorts before features. But I'm trying. I wrote a short, and we're currently, like I said, trying to cast for it. We're just using local Houston actors for it, though, because it's virtually like a no-budget thing. But the story's really cool. I think it'll shock a lot of people. It's kind of twisted and fucked up. And it's short. It'll end up being, the script's like 5 pages, so we're talking something that's going to be very short, 4 to 5 minutes long. So me and my cinematographer from Stirring and Party Night are going to do it. He's producing it with me. He's going to shoot it and edit it, and hopefully get it out there. I wanted something to kind of play on the festival circuit next year, just to kind of keep momentum going. So hopefully this short will be that vehicle to keep my name out there on the festival circuit and stuff. So because the script is really, like I said, it's something I've never seen before. It's really fucked up. There's a huge twist shock ending. So I'm really excited for people to see it.
Okay.
Because I
before I let you go,
it'll be a little bit different too for me, because I wouldn't say it's a slasher movie at all. It's more, I don't even know what you would call it. So I think I also kind of wanted to do that as well. I wanted to get something out there that people would see. Okay, so he can do something else that's not just people getting slasher, killer stalking people.
Mm-hmm. You always have to be different sometimes.
Yeah.
Because once you get thrown into one trope, then it's kind of very hard to get out of.
Yeah, for sure.
Now let's wrap up this interview.
Sure.
When is Potty Night and Mrs. Claus coming out?
Okay, Party Night is being released September 11th, which happens to be my birthday. So if you want to give me a birthday gift, order it. It's available. You can pre-order it now on Amazon, Target, Best Buy, Barnes & Noble, FYE. So go check it out. And then Mrs. Claus is being released November 13th. And again, you can pre-order it now on Amazon. Pretty much any of the retailers have it. So yeah, it's exciting to have two films coming out, so close to each other.
It is. It's kind of weird also.
It is.
Usually they would maybe separate it.
I know.
6 months or so.
Well, particularly, like I said, because Party Night's 2 years old, so. But it's cool.
Now tell people with. No,
go ahead.
You have a thought?
Nope.
You're all set?
Yep, I'm all set. Go ahead.
Okay, tell people where they can find you on social media and also your films. Social media pages.
Well, you can find me on Facebook. I'm Troy Escamilla, Escamilla. I don't know if you want to friend me or not, because 99% of what I post is stuff about my films, which probably drives people crazy. But feel free to friend me. On Instagram, I'm on Instagram as Troy ESC. I do a little bit more different types of stuff on there, though I do post a lot about horror movies, but I'll do other things. And the films are on Facebook as well. You can follow them on Facebook at Party Night Movie, or right now Stirring Movie, although I petitioned Facebook to have the name of it changed to Mrs. Claus Movie, but they haven't responded. So, and Instagram, they're both on Instagram, Party Night Movie and Stirring the Movie on Instagram, and Twitter.
All right, thank you very much for joining me, Troy.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for taking the time.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Not a problem, because I've seen both of these films, and they are good.
Oh, good.
Definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, I knew you'd seen them. So, yeah, I appreciate that. Very much.
Yeah, so I think I might have a review of Stirring Up on Anthony T's Horror Chamber as well.
Uh-huh.
So if anybody wants to check that out,
indeed,
you can visit that site.
For sure.
All right. It was very nice talking to you, Troy.
You too. Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Thanks for the opportunity.
You're welcome.
All right.
Not a problem.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Welcome back to Anthony T's Horror Show. I want to thank Troy Escamilla for coming on the show this week. On Anthony T's Horror Chamber over at thehorrorchamber.blogspot.com. I have my review of Puppet Master Lois Reich up there. It's one of the most glorious horror films you will see this year. Because I wouldn't say it's the glorious, because that, of course, is Terrifier, which you should definitely check out. Over on Anthony T. Horror Chamber's YouTube channel, I'm about ready to put the finishing touches on another edition of the Horror Chamber's DVD and Blu-ray collection. That'll be, I believe, episode 3 of that over there. Plus, I'm getting ready to review one or two films on there, because I have Pie Wacket in the Song of Solomon. One of them may be up there at the time of this recording, so if it's up there, well, definitely check it out, because I will give you my quick thoughts on the film. I won't sit there and talk about plots or anything. I just want to get right to the chase. So check that out over on Anthony T. Horror Chamber's YouTube channel. I want to thank you again for listening to this show. Please like the show on Facebook at Anthony T's Horror Show. Thank you for listening. Have a good day and support indie horror.